Hello friends, today Spirit has a very interesting message for me to share with you today. But before we get to that, I just want to do a little housekeeping about the last couple videos. Another thing came up, of course, as with all my videos, it seems like every time I make a video after the information expands. And the one about the relationships, and we kind of continued talking about that yesterday, was that we are, well, we can say we're kind of like the sum of everyone we hang out with. Of course, we are our own individual being, but we do pick up stuff from everyone we're hanging out with or everyone who is in our circle, whether that's in IRL, in real life, or online. If you're watching the same person on YouTube or the same sports person or whatever, you'll notice you'll begin to take on some of their language, some of the things they do. This just happens naturally. So we're all influencing each other. And this came up about letting go of relationships that have run their course, because even if we keep people, even in our circles that are not anymore, not in alignment with us anymore. And I hesitate to use the word alignment because I typically use it to describe alignment with our higher self, our true self. Yet I know that you pick up what I'm putting down here. But it's basically, if we keep people in our lives that we've grown out of, even just having any connection kind of keeps that energy in. And you'll understand this if this message is for you. And also, if you've been attracted to this message, this might give you that little key, that little spark, or just that little confirmation of what you're already feeling, that sometimes we just have to let go of other humans. Of course, we're always connected. We are all one being, yet in this physical plane, on our ascension path, to continue moving up, it's just natural that we let go of people that we do not resonate with anymore. And so this is just how it goes. And yes, it can be very difficult. It can be sad. We have to go through our own process, which may even look like grief sometimes. Yet at the end of the day, we can be thankful for every human that's been in our lives, because they all were assisting us. They all were there for us at a particular time of our journey where we needed them. And then when we have moved beyond that, then the paths, they go separate ways. So, and sometimes we cross paths for quite some time before we go separate ways. Sometimes you just meet someone one time and spend 5 minutes and then go separate ways and never see them again. So it all depends on the person and basically the energetical and vibrational relationship we have to them. Yet once there is no longer that resonant match, then there is a natural parting of ways. And if we try not to let that happen, well, it's just gonna kind of hold us back and keep those old stories going. By letting it go, it frees us. And always, with everything, trust your inner guidance, the guidance from your higher self, and know that we do what's right for us, and we feel that as freedom, expansion, peace. So yeah, just wanted to mention that about that other video. And also another thing that came up to mention is that through my books and through these YouTube videos, I often share similar concepts come up. Every video is different, but also there's these underlying threads that continue to come up, and that's done intentionally to reinforce a higher perspective of anchoring it into us. Because really, through the book series, through these videos, we are actually rewiring our minds, rewiring our brain. And our heart is already there. It's just getting the mind and brain on the same page. And so I just also felt called to mention that. And now, without further ado, what Spirit brought forward for me to speak about today was that Spirit always does always sets up for us what is the best possible thing for us, but the best possible thing for us may not be what our ego thinks is the best possible thing. And I had an example of this morning. It was last night before I go to bed. I just asked Spirit to wake me up at the best time. And then this morning I woke up and I felt like I was like late, an hour and a half late. And then I noticed old programs coming up. I was thinking of rushing. I felt the fight or flight nervous system. I started to get concerned about different things and all of this old stuff coming up. And I thought, but then I remembered, because I've been doing this work for some time, I trusted, okay, this is the divine right time. I trust that everything will go in the best possible way for me, and that this is how it's meant to be because it is. And I trusted that. And then, to my shock and amazement, everything did turn out better than I could have even imagined. And then also, because I was late to where I was going and the activity that I was doing, I also had a bunch of other old programs and patterns come up. And this happens on an ascension path quite regularly. And in the past, when this happened, I would get so frustrated about these old things coming up. But now I see it in a very different way. It's actually a sign of our growth, and it's a sign that we're about to reach a whole other level. And it's just like this last purging of stuff before we raise again. And so I've learned to see it as a very positive thing. And I share this with you to encourage you, because I went for years thinking it was being so frustrated about it. And in one of my earlier videos in this Ascension Chronicles series, I talk about how sometimes it feels like we're going backward, but we're always going forward. We can really only go forward. We can only go up. Yet on our way up, there's still ups and downs. And what came to me after I made that video, and I've been wanting to put in somewhere here, and today is perfect to do that, is that sometimes one step back is 2 steps forward. And when we do the math, that's just 1 step forward. So that's exactly what I was sharing in that video, that we're always moving forward. And even if it feels like 1 step back, that means we're doing 2 steps forward. So it's still 1 step forward. So it's trusting that and just going with the flow, going with the process. How that looks like for me is I just let all of these emotions and old energies come to the surface and come out of me. Just move out of me. And today I came up with a new thing that just it helped me so much. So all of these things that have come up, I feel I have already healed them, alchemized them, transmuted them, because I have put my higher self perspective in their place. I have felt the energies out, yet obviously because I am still feeling them, there is still a bit of old remnants. So I feel that out. And then this new thing that came to me today was just to surrender any resistance. And often when we have resistance, it's due to a program or pattern, but I had already dealt with all that. So that's why it has been frustrating, because it's like, why is this still coming up if I've dealt with it? But today I just got to a point where I was just like, okay, if anything feels resistant, just surrender it. And so that also helps us move out any old energy associated with it and become a lot more chill in the process. And as well, seeing things and reframing. And I go into this a lot in the book series, but instead of bringing up these old stories that are going to come up, is to make a new story, a story that actually feels good, a story that we could do, a story rooted in truth, like seeing the multidimensional reality, like I've been sharing. Or we can just even make up a new story that just feels good. Whatever it takes to be okay in whatever situation. Of course, if it's a situation where we are being guided to leave, of course do that. But this, I'm talking about quite mundane situations where, because I've had old war programming and survival programming, it's like I'm in the battlefield when I'm actually surrounded by just people doing their thing, and it's letting go of these old programs, patterns that of course once served a purpose, but now it's just well, it really doesn't anymore, and it really always feels like it's very limiting and very fight or flight nervous system and all of that. So I am here to move that out of my system and to share it with you. So of course to help others, also for my family, etc., etc. So I noticed all these things coming up today, but again, I see it as such a good thing. That means I'm about to get to a whole other level. And so that is very exciting. But let's come back to the crux of this message, which is, when I talk about the best is always happening for us, the best is always happening for us on a spiritual level. That may not appear to be the best to our human ego program self. So it's learning to see the bigger picture, to trust in your life process, to trust that your higher self actually does know what's best for you. Because once I realized the purpose of why Spirit woke me up later than I would have, my human ego would have wanted, I was so thankful to Spirit. And I was just like, oh, Spirit, you're the best, oh, thank you so much. Yet initially my human ego was like, why? And I can't believe you let me sleep in and this kind of stuff. So, but I had not lived the day yet. And so I had not seen why Spirit had done that very purposefully, so that I would clear a bunch of old stuff that now I'm on a whole new level of freedom. Even just after going through this day, I feel like I'm at a whole other level of freedom, just letting that old energy stuff move through me and shifting my perspective on different things, and instead of going into these old patterns or stories, to shift out of that, to come back to alignment, to see it in a new light, to see it through our higher self perspective, which we talked about yesterday, seeing the truth, the capital T truth, through our higher self perspective instead of some sort of story that the mind has concocted. And the mind is perfect and beautiful and wonderful. It's just getting it on the same page as the heart, as our higher self. And so again, that's what we're doing through this video series, through the book series. This is our real-time rewiring. So, wow, this is powerful. And I want to say just you're welcome for this. And it is an honor to bring it forward for you, for humanity. And I trust that you are getting a lot out of this series. Or I could call, call it a playlist, but I often call it a series. So that's probably why that's coming up. So if I call it a series, it's a playlist on my channel called Ascension Chronicles, meant to be watched in the order that I put them up. Of course, it all starts with the books, and the best way to get through all of my material is starting at the books, working your way through, and then starting the videos on YouTube. And so, yes, I will leave it at that. And I send you much love and blessings on your path, and wishing you a glorious day today.